Mid-engine Ferrari values continue to increase while most other car values were topping or even decreasing. But the inevitable happened. The first cracks are appearing in the mid-engine Ferrari market. The 360 price trend turned flat, F430s are losing momentum, 458 Spiders are down by 5%, and things do not look good for the newer cars. So without further ado, let's have a look at the market. We start with a quick market overview and then have a look at the price trends. Over here we have the mid-engine US market of September. The front-engine cars will be covered in a separate video. In total there are 742 clean titles for sale, and when we look at the prices we can see familiar patterns. With prices starting at $75,000, the 360 is the cheapest car in this graph, followed by the F355 and the F430. Manuals and rare examples are of course a lot more expensive. Prices stretch up to $400,000. Next up are the 458 and the 488. As we all know, 458 values are strong and you need to bring around $250,000 for one. Prices for the youngest cars are even on par or higher than 458 prices. Speciales and Pistas demand insane premiums. You need to bring a bit over $500,000 for a coupe and way more for a convertible. F8s are a significant step up from the 488 and the SF90 prices are in a different league, but also they came down a bit since their introduction. Moreover, this is what we can see in the majority of the markets. As I'm sure you are aware, car values increased significantly after the pandemic. But in the beginning of this year some price trends started to flatten, and during spring this was the case for most markets. Ferrari prices though continued to trend up for a long time. It is only now during the Q3 market update that we can see signs of weakness. No model saw a noteworthy price increase. In fact, prices are down for almost all of them. Let's have a look at the price trends and we start with the 360. Compared to Q2, prices for the automatics decreased by 3%. And this brought them back to approximately the same level as the end of 2021. We can then also see that the trend is now fully flat and even pointing down slightly. Compared to September 2019 though, prices are still up by 20%. But will this game be erased soon? With a plethora of economic doom scenarios on the horizon, it is not difficult to argue for a further price decrease. However, if we look at the market characteristics, there are also some positive points. These cars are namely becoming increasingly rare. A quick look at the supply graph reveals that the trend is down. With only 28 cars, market supply decreased significantly since September 2019, and it will be interesting to see where supply will stabilize. Moving on to the F430 market, we can see that things are marginally better. Prices decreased but are still higher than at the beginning of this year. Over here we can see that the F430 prices decreased by 1% during the last 3 months, but this number is so low that it could be the result of chance. Compared to December 2021, prices are still up by 4%, and compared to February 2020 this is even 33%. Nevertheless, looking at the trend of the 360 and F430, it is clear that the upward momentum of 2021 faded away. Unfortunately, it is difficult to say if the same applies to the manual market. Market supply is low over there and this makes it difficult to get a reliable price trend. The same obviously applies to the Challenge Stradales and the Scuderias. And with that it's time to have a look at the 458 market. There are some interesting market dynamics at play over there. But before we do that, if you enjoyed this video, please support the channel by clicking on the like button down below. Thank you. Over here we have the prices for the Spiders and the Coupes. And we can see that Spiders came down by 5% while Coupes were approximately flat. Especially the Spiders might be affected by the winter effect, but we can clearly see that the upward momentum is fading away. When it comes to the 458s, there might be many of you who are not surprised about this. Look at the run-up that they have had. Compared to April 2020, Coupes are up by 37% and Spiders by 43%. Speciales are even up by 54%. Now as I mentioned, there are a few developments that deserve special attention. The first one is the supply development. Especially in the coupe market, supply increased to slightly worrisome levels. That is, if you own a 458. If you are on the buy side, this might be music to your ears. Coupe supply namely developed in this typical V-shape. It dropped from 112 cars in April 2020 to 46 cars 14 months later. While prices soared, supply further increased till it reached 101 cars in this month. In other words, supply is at the same level as 2.5 years ago. And this of course raises the question whether or not there is sufficient demand in the market. Another interesting thing in the 458 coupe market is the price development for different mileage categories. Over here we can see how the premium for cars between 0 and roughly 9,000 miles increased a lot during this year. The blue line increased a lot more than the other lines. Yet there was a significant price drop during the last 3 months. The fact that perhaps the most desired market segment, the one with the lowest mileage car, saw a significant drop after such a strong run-up might signal that the 458 market is cooling down. But I'm saying this with a bit of caution. There are less cars for sale in each mileage bucket compared to the aggregate trend. We therefore need to be a bit careful with interpreting the developments. Nevertheless, the increase in the low mileage segment is quite evident and took place over several months, so I don't think that they are the result of chance. Looking at the higher mileage buckets, we can say that all with exception of the orange one saw a flattening of the price trend. Now that was quite a detailed overview of the 458 market, but I know that some of you are very interested in this market segment. The other models are covered a bit quicker to avoid ending up with a video that lasts for half an hour. But please comment down below if you would like to see a detailed overview for the other models. Having said that, let's move on and have a look at the 488 market. Price trends in this market are very similar to the 458 market. Coupe prices did not change during the last 3 months while spiders are down by 3%. Again, like in all the graphs, we can see that the price trends are flattening. So, owners enjoyed significant appreciation as values are up by 19 and 23% since the summer of 2020. Also, the supply development shows similarities to what we saw in the 458 market, meaning that it developed in a V-shape and that supply levels are approaching the ones of 2020. And this is of course something to keep in the back of your mind. Moving on to the F8 market, we can see the by now familiar pattern. A price increase followed by a flat development or even a price decrease. Coupes came down by 1.2% and spiders by 4.3%. Again, the spiders take the largest hit. Nevertheless, compared to the beginning of the year, both cars are still looking at an appreciation percentage between 5 and 10%. Not a bad score. In the meantime though, supply increased from 44 cars at the beginning of this year to 93 cars right now. Also, the SF90 market is in a downward trend. Prices came down by 4% during the last 3 months, and it is especially the decrease of the market bottom that is responsible for this drop. Whereas you needed to bring close to $800,000 before, $750,000 should be sufficient right now to get you into an entry-level SF90. Also in the SF90 market, supply is increasing. At the end of 2021 there were only 5 cars for sale versus 73 now. Alright, I think that the message is clear here. The upward momentum disappeared in most markets and some markets even saw prices come down. And this development, albeit a bit later than for most other cars, fits with the exotic car market trend. The upward momentum that we saw during 2021 ended. However, as I also pointed out in last week's 911 Turbo market analysis, there are certain segments that are relatively unaffected by this, but these are exceptions. Exceptions that also exist in the Ferrari market. First up is the 488 P-Stack Coupe market, excluding the Piloti editions. Over here we can see that, just as in the rest of the market, the price trend flattened. Yet, prices did not decrease. They are exactly at the same level as 3 months ago. There can of course be several reasons for this, as the price adjustment might be slower in such a niche market, but for now we can't see that. Another exception to the rule is the F355 market, or to be more precise, the Spider market. Unfortunately, there's not enough market supply to get reliable estimates for the Targa and the Coupe. Now looking at those spiders, we can see that prices increased by 13.8% during the last 3 months, but I think that this number is a bit of an exaggeration. With 18 cars for sale, market supply is also low over here. Having said that, when you look a little bit deeper into the data, it becomes clear that prices at least did not decrease. Moreover, prices are now above the ones for a 360, and this is the first time since the end of last year. And with that, it's time to wrap up and conclude. The mid-engine Ferrari market is cooling off. We can see that price trends are flattening and in some cases even decreasing. 360s, F430s, 458s, 488s, F8s and SF90s all came down in price. And this is in line with what we can see in other markets. Let it be a bit later. Most markets weakened already during spring. And this of course raises the question, where do we go from here? Nobody knows for sure, but I will share my thoughts on this topic with you in a separate video. It's relevant for more than just the Ferrari market. And with that we arrived at the end of this video. Now as always, if you enjoy this data-driven approach of analyzing car markets but would like to see the analysis for a different car, comment down below with the car for which you would like to see an analysis. Once there are enough requests for a certain car, I will make a video about it. There will be at least a similar video for the V12 market, so stay tuned if you like front-engine Ferraris. Going forward, there will also be some videos for cars that did not yet feature on the channel. Think about Land Cruisers, G-Classes, SLS AMGs and GT500s. I really do pay attention to the cars that you are requesting. It just takes a moment to collect all the required data that is necessary to show you the price development over time. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next week for a new video.